Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation, Parachute Generation, How Do We Cope? Parachute kid refers to elementary or high school students who study abroad, usually seeking for a better education. And in today's session, we'll focus on those parachute kids who come to Canada for high school education, why they need extra help, where and what resources are available, and our event proposal. I will start us off with a quick introduction to our special group name. Lemna may be a strange word for many people, but in fact, it's nothing more than a fancy word for duckweed. And the reason why we chose this word to be our group name is because it's just the perfect representation of us parachute kids, floating in a foreign country, stemless, have barely anything to hold on to. It's a feeling commonly experienced among parachute kids because they aren't prepared enough for this tremendous change. The reason behind it is that with the explosive progression of globalization and the rapid growth of middle class in China, studying abroad had become an option for many families. However, according to our online survey, about 90% of the time, parents make the decision of studying abroad, not the students themselves. Thus, many of them are likely to be overwhelmed because of the lack of preparation. We have listed some of the common barriers, and I will briefly talk about each one. First is homesickness and loneliness. These are parts of what's called a culture shock. The anxiety and depression caused by cutting off from familiar culture and environment is commonly experienced by international students. Moving from China to Canada means discarding the old relationships and lifestyle, separated from parents and friends, changing from convenience store to bulk shopping, from metro traveling to car traveling, and most importantly, from Chinese-speaking society to English-speaking society. This leads us to the next barrier, insufficient English skills. Though English lessons are mandatory in most schools in China, there is still a long way to go from textbooks to real-life applications. The drawback of language barrier permeates through all aspects of life. Poor English skill directly leads to a stiff relationship with homestay families, not being able to fit into the local community, and of course, difficulty in studying school materials. Schoolwork and grades, as one of the most important facets of life for a high school student, cannot be overlooked. Learning new materials with a different language is not an easy task. According to our survey, over 80% of the students find English, science, and history specifically painful to learn, reasons being too much new vocabulary and lack of background knowledge. In addition to that, the whole school system also works differently. In China's Gaokao system, all of the effort in the 3 years of high school is aiming for a good mark for one final exam. On the other hand, in Canada, every mark matters, as post-secondary schools look at grade point average, GPA in short. Adapting to all of these is probably too overwhelming even for an adult, not mentioning they're only teenagers. One thing important for the parachute student is that they should recognize they need help and ask for help, as no one can accomplish everything on their own.
With all the above hardship mentioned, newcomer students certainly need help. There are all sorts of help available for students that they should know about. First, there are settlement workers in schools who understand the problems students face and can help them. They also help students get assistance from others. Parents can register their students in assessment centers. The centers will help with any extra classes they may need in order to help them with their studies. Many schools have ESL, also known as English Second Language, ESL teachers who teach students with English as their second language, and they generally have more experience when dealing with newcomer students. Guidance counselors help students make decisions about courses and learn about their choices in the future. Parents are also able to speak with counselors if they desire so. The counselors also have contacts with other people within the school or the community and are able to reach out to their contacts if the student or parent needs it. The chaplain is a special person in Catholic schools. They work with the priest in their local church and they help students celebrate their belief with both spiritual and personal problems. There are also courses offered to newcomer students. Special courses like the ESL programs can help students catch up with language. Some schools have other courses specially adapted for ESL students, like ESL history. There are also international language classes for students to maintain and improve their first language so they can still keep in touch with friends and families from their home country. There's also the careers course taken in grade 10. It is a compulsory course and a good stepping stone towards the future for students. Teachers will guide students through a planning process to help them think about their future.
Okay, so now I will moving on to talking about the event proposal. Our event is named the Newcomer Social Fair. So in this section, I will outline to you first some basic information about the event. Second, I'll talk about when it is happening. I'll also talk about the target audience, and lastly, the budget allocation. Okay, so first for basic information, the event should take place around 1 or 2 weeks before the beginning of the school year during the breaks. And in those times, we can ensure that new students are able to join because usually they arrive when the semester starts. And having the winter break as a session time is useful because it provides an opportunity for those who came later in the year who weren't able to attend summer sessions to get an opportunity to talk with other students. Now, online sessions should happen in case of safety measure issues, but they do not work as well as offline conversations because it's harder to talk when people are all like online, and some people might have their cameras and microphones off. Regardless, if there is a need for safety measures to be implemented, online platforms such as Google Meet, Zoom, and more conveniently, WeChat meetings can be used. However, if the situation allows, hosting offline meeting sessions would be a lot more effective because it is easier to start conversations when meeting someone in person. For offline gatherings, it is important to have a place where people can talk freely. A good choice would be outdoor park areas where large rental spaces are available. So this event will run once during the summer break and once during the winter break. Usage of rental areas in the parks are from 10 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., which allows a really big time span for people to come and drop by and talk, and volunteers will be available throughout this time range. And this is, we believe, the most convenient method of hosting an event for those attending. After determining the time, we will make a sign-up sheet in Google Forms. We can also post it in our social media accounts to gain attention for people to register. We will also host an online Q&A session for the events using WeChat group chats meeting functions, since WeChat is the major tool of communication among Chinese people in general. Now, depending on the pandemic situation, the event will be held online or in person using the platforms described above. If we decide to have online meetings, there can be more sessions since there are no restrictions from budgets for the rental fees. I will also talk about the target audience. We are aiming for newcomer high school students from China, ranging from those who will go to grade 9 in September to those who will attend grade 12. And we aim to have students in and around the Oakville or Toronto area to join the event. We will also get students already in Canada, such as ourselves, to speak about our experiences and talk to them about extracurricular activities that teachers might not go over with students because they might not think it's necessary. There are also higher chances of meeting students who go to or will go to the same school as you, which helps the newcomer students recognize that if they want to find help from, say, teachers, they can actually ask these older students who are already in Canada to help them find help. So now for budget allocation, the $200 budget should be used first in renting areas for offline events in the Toronto area. The booking fees for social gatherings under and including 25 people is $28.06 with $27 of insurance. With our budget, we can host 2 events under 25 people and have the rest of the budget for preparing other accessories as needed, namely the raffle prizes, to make the sessions more entertaining. We have enough budget for 3 prizes, a school bag and 2 notebooks. And this will be a small amount left just in case we need to buy other things for emergency purposes.
I will give a brief explanation on the achievability and reliability of our event. The cause of the event plays a crucial part in terms of attractiveness. As it has barely no cost, it should not stop anyone from participating. The event is beneficial to both the volunteers and the participants. The volunteers can learn leadership and communication skills. The participants can get the most reliable helps and make friends with the people at their age. The event is also very safe. High schoolers are usually the most reliable help available, and they will be willing to help. We will also make sure not to leak any information. As the presentation comes to an end, I want to ask you a question. Do you think Lemna has flowers? The answer is yes. Even a humble and remarkable plant like Lemna has flowers. We believe that everyone is talented in their own way. I want to end this with a quote from Marie Curie. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more, that we may fear less. Just believe in yourself and march forward. Thank you very much for participating.